ding.
Crossing the field.
We do have a quorum. I'll call to order the February meeting of the Williamson County Board of Commissioners. As we open our session tonight, Commissioner Mills will have the invocation for us, and Commissioner Russell Little will lead us in our pledge to the flag. So at this time, if you'd please stand for the invocation and then for the pledge, please.
Let us bow our heads. God of our Father, who has brought us thus far of the way, we prayed unto you humbly tonight. We ask that you will guide this meeting as we deliberate what we think is best for this country, for this state, and for this county. That we ask that you will look favorably upon the people who are fighting for our freedom. Protect them, Lord, and Lord, even take care of those folk and make them see that they are doing wrong, who are fighting against us. And Lord, bless this meeting and all who are assembled here. In the name of your dear Son, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Join together, recite the pledge. I
Pledge
pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated, please. Okay, we'll have roll call. All of you push your your white button for the present button. Call a roll, Ms. Anderson.
24 present.
Thank you. No?
Oh, excuse me. I thought you would hear me. I'm sorry, 23 present.
Commissioner Greer is
One absent.
absent. She indicated she'd be out of town on business tonight, so Commissioner Greer will not be with us. Approval of minutes of the regular January 8, 2007 County Commission meeting. Copies were mailed to each of the Commission members. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion made and seconded by Commissioner Wilson, Commissioner Chalfant to second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Introduction and acceptance of the Highway Commission minutes. You received these in the packet the last few days. The Road Commission approved those this past Wednesday. I'll entertain a motion to accept those. Commissioner Cook, the motion, second. Commissioner Mills, the second, to approve and accept the Highway Commission minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Citizens communication. There are no signatures signing up to communicate with us tonight, so we want to say as we go into communications and messages, remind each of you that here present tonight, this is the legislative body, the Board of Commissioners of Williamson County. We'd ask your cooperation if you have a pager or cell phone and you want to keep it in your possession, make sure it's turned off, so help us with that as we conduct our business tonight and move forward. We'll move on to, with any other communications and messages before we move on into the report of the county offices. Exactly right. Made myself a note. One of the items that was not in your packet that we need to add to the agenda under section number 9, elections and appointments, under the county commission appointments, we have a recommendation from the steering committee to fill the vacancies that exist on the special roads study committee. So we would like your permission. We'll add that under item number 9, the last item right before notaries, county commission steering committee recommendation, and Commissioner Russell Little will be reporting to us the recommendation of that committee. So any objection to adding that to the agenda this evening? Thank you. I see no objection, so we'll move forward then and add that to the agenda. Report of county offices. Mayor Rogers Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you don't mind, I'll let Dave come up and give the financial overview.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, you have at your desk, I believe, 3 reports that we submit to you each month. One of those is the monthly budget report of all funds in the county. That is through December 31st, so that gives you kind of a 6-month snapshot of all the funds. Everything appears to be in order there. If you have any questions on that, I'll be glad to try to answer those for you. Secondly is the report from the Cool Springs Conference Center. For the month of December, they had an outstanding month. We received a check of $54,261. They did give me a little bit of preview that January is not going to look quite that good, but that is a good report. Just a side note to that, they said they did most of that in about the first 18 days of the month. So, the third report is your privilege tax report that we give each month. This is through January of '07. Just a note on that, we were down a little bit for December, and that trend has continued a little bit through January. So through the first 7 months of the fiscal year compared to last year, we're down about $600,000. So just something to be noted on that. We could hopefully pick that up in the spring, but on a 7-month comparison, we are down a little bit. Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Any questions of Mr. Coleman on this report of these items that are here? I see none. Thank you. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, that'll conclude everything. I know you've got a lengthy meeting unless there's some questions.
Any questions of the mayor at this point? Commissioner Langston?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, there was an item that came before the Property Committee a couple of weeks ago that Commissioner Hancock chairs, and that's an item regarding the Boys and Girls Club. And I know that a lot of us are very interested in that. There's been a grant given to Carter House to rework the old gym, and I know that's going to have some effect on the Boys and Girls Club, and our chairman as well as the county mayor has been working on it. I wonder if you had anything you could tell us.
Mayor, thank you.
Doug, about 30 days ago, received a visit from a couple of gentlemen from the state and some of the representatives of the Carter House. Many of you remember back at the late 1999 to the year 2000, we signed a lease whereby the community service building and the old Optimus gym that we refer to on Columbia, there was a lease exchange whereby in the middle of 2009 that building would be torn down and the facility, the location would be deeded over or given to the Carter's house. At that time, the lease allowed the utilization of that facility where we did the maintenance on the building over the past several years, and the Boys and Girls Club continued to use that facility as part of their activities room, both downstairs and upstairs, and the Optimus gym continued to use the gym for their basketball program each year. About 3 weeks ago, in mid-January, I will say, we received a certified letter from the state telling us that they were calling the lease, which they could do under one of the articles earlier than the prescribed time of the lease, which would go out into 2009. They were giving us the 90-day notice that the gym would need to be vacated, but they were extending the notice till August 1, 2007. The main reason behind this was the Carter House received a sizable grant that would allow them to not just expand the parking lot area, but to also refurbish the old Optimus gym that we call the Optimus gym. So we got busy, and we have been meeting with several people trying to find a solution and a remedy to the current situation. After discussing it with the Boys and Girls Club representative, several of the board members from Boys and Girls Club, meeting with some other people, you will see a resolution coming before you if you like. I have had the opportunity to talk to a couple of the people here. that there's a piece of property that we own on the corner of, is that Everbright? And Academy. That's about 1.2 to 1.4 acres that's vacant, to lease them that land in which the Boys and Girls Club can go back and have a public, private, state, city, and county solution to their problem. That's the quickest remedy that I can come up with that would allow them at some point over the next year or two to be able to build a building of which they could lease the land from us. We've been in contact with our legal counsel talking about a long-term lease for a reasonable amount. That value of that piece of property is about $240,000 to $250,000 that we could lease them that over a long period of time. It would be my desire that our representatives in Nashville would certainly contact the appropriate parties up there in order to help get some grant funding for the Boys and Girls Club building, that the city of Franklin would participate in this, as well as the public-private sector of our community in order to eliminate this situation. The second part of this puzzle would be that building or that location is directly across from the old BGA gym that we call now the Academy Sports. As many of you know, a couple of years ago under Doug Hood and through most of you all that were here at that time, we were able to secure some grant money to refurbish that entire gym. There's 2 gyms in there. And we will just have to make available part of the gym space up there for the continuation of these 2 programs, because without it, there is no other place for these boys and girls to go and participate.
Any follow-up, Commissioner?
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Hancock, please.
That pretty much covers my question, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Brogman?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to avoid confusion. I don't believe it's Everbright. Everbright runs on the other side. I just want people to not have misinformation.
It is at the corner of Academy and that street that comes up by the library. Hold on a minute. Janice, what's that street called? Granberry.
Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions of Mayor Anderson?
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I did overlook one thing that I would encourage all of you as county commissioners to look at participating in the CTAS, the program that's offered to you for so many hours of continuing education. Not only is there a benefit for you to participate and keep up with the latest trends in statewide government, local issues that pertain to you individually, there's an added benefit for us if we can find 25% of you to participate and sign on and get your certification, and that it is worth extra points to us under the 3-star program. Part of the new program outlined in guides this year is for all cities and municipalities and counties to participate in continuing education. We have some of you that are very, very active in some kind of continuing education, and I would only encourage each and every one of you, if you could find time in your schedule, to attend some of these meetings. Many of those meetings are held at our Ag Center now. A lot of the meetings can be done and conducted through the internet, and I just really encourage you to do that for your continuing education, as well as getting some extra points for us. And it sure would be nice if we could match up with what the cities are doing at this time.
Other questions of Mayor Anderson? See none. Thank you, sir. Director of Schools, Dr. Rebecca Sharber.
Good evening. Well, we're just coming off a very exciting weekend where we had our Superintendent's Art Show receptions at the Frist Center on Saturday and Sunday, and Commissioner Ford was able to attend on Sunday, so it was nice to have a commissioner representative to see our student artwork. And the artwork will be displayed through March the 11th. So if you enjoy great artwork, you'll want to go by the Frist Center and see our wonderful student talent displayed there. It is a wonderful opportunity that the Frist Center offers to our students, to have our students have the ability to have their artwork hanging in a world-renowned museum. So we really appreciate that partnership, and we hope to continue to do that for many years, so maybe you'll be able to attend the next year. We've been obviously very busy, as everyone always is. We will be having our 5-year capital plan coming through your committee process this next month. The school board is set to vote on that next week, and then it'll come through the education and the budget committees. And if you are not on one of those committees, but you would like a copy of that after the board approves it, I'd be glad to send it to you. So just call my office and we'll do that. Also, and I know you're hearing a lot about all this in the newspaper, it's really hard to have two bodies trying to work together and one body approve things, then coming to you to approve things, and the newspaper's reporting everything as if it were approved. So I realize it's difficult because you're hearing things you should hear earlier than you do, but it's just the process we're under, and I apologize for that, and I thank you always for your support. Also, we will be coming to the Education Committee with the report that we had promised the Education Committee earlier this year, and this is our information about working either with construction management or hard bid process, and we think about that and the information we have to offer about that. If anyone, what we will do is send an advanced copy to the Education Committee, so you'll have a chance to read it prior to the meeting. That way I think we can have a more fruitful discussion. If you are not on the Education Committee and you would like a copy of that, if you would call my office, we'll be glad to also get that to you. So I know there are other people besides just the Education Committee that might be interested in that. We've been busy, as always, doing our teacher features, and I'm sure you may have seen some of that on Channel 3, and it's always one of the most fun things I get to do, go out and honor teachers, and we do appreciate the Galleria and Publix and this year's Sylvan Learning Center for offering really kind of something tangible for our teachers that are selected. And this month it was especially fun because out of the 4 teachers that were honored, 2 of them went through our Williamson County school system, starting in elementary school. So that was kind of cool to get to know that we have children who go through our district and then graduate from college and come back and teach for us. That was really cool. And one of them had gone through several rezonings in her time in the Williamson County school system, and we were kind of pleased to know that you could really be successful after that. That's a joke. Y'all are supposed to laugh at that. We are through with our rezoning efforts for the year. We know we are basically through with our rezoning efforts for the year and look forward to not having to do that maybe for 2 more years. And we are working obviously hard on our budget so that we can have everything approved by the school board and then to you by our April 1st deadline. The school board is set to have an pretty much all morning, maybe all day, workshop on the budget on March the 3rd. That's a Saturday. And of course, it's an open meeting, and if any of you want to attend to kind of get a jump on what the school system's working on, we'd love to have your attendance. And that is what I have to offer for you this evening. I'd be glad to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman, if there are any.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Superintendent Sharber? Commissioner Williams, please.
Dr. Sharber, there was an article in the paper today about schools. There will be 9 new schools needed in the next 5 years. Do you agree with that article?
Well, that is what we have on our capital plan. That's kind of what I'm talking about. The board hasn't really even approved the capital plan, but we're reporting it already in the news media. I think the board will approve it. And that is certainly based on our best estimate of where student growth is and how that will happen. Quickly and easily, if you just look at the information, and we can provide whatever you want, but we have what we think is really accurate information about the south end of the county and the elementary schools, and firmly believe that within 3 years, all 3 of the elementary schools in the south end of the county will be full again, and we'll need a school there. In the northeast section of the county, it's the same way. All of the elementary schools, Edmondson, Sunset, Nolensville, will be basically full in 3 years, and we'll need another school there. We already know we need another middle school in the south end of the county, and you've already funded the architectural work and the land for that. And a middle school we're going to build on Henpeck Lane, the property that we own there, and a high school in the south end of the county. Once, even with the rezoning, our numbers show that within the next 5 years we'll need a high school there, and very possibly a high school in 5 years in the northeast side of the county. And there are a couple of other elementary schools that may be needed based on the growth at West Haven, where we have property already set aside, and also the growth in the Goose Creek area. So those are kind of what we're looking at, and obviously some of it is based on what we know about what has been platted and planned and what we think is going to be planned.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Other questions of Director Sharber? I see none.
Thank you very
ma'am.
much.
Hospital report, Mr. Roger Klein is with us tonight in Brother Miller's absence, so welcome, Roger.
Good evening. I am Roger Klein. I am substituting for Mr. Miller, who's unavailable tonight. We, as always, have submitted our standard report, but I also wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about a letter that you received from Mayor Leverett in Spring Hill and our view of how our CON, our Certificate of Need appeal process is going. And I will say that in Mayor Leverett's letter, he again states that we're spending public money on the appeal process. That is not true. It has never been true. And Mayor Leverett knows it's not true. Our budget, we operate on our own funds that we generate from operations, and so his characterization of that is just not true. But I do want to bring you up to date on where we stand with the appeal hearing, and the appeal process is just that. The Certificate of Need rules and regulations allow us to make an appeal, which we have done. We believe that if our roles were reversed, that HCA would be taking full advantage of their rights under the appeal process as well. They understand the process. They always have. We believe that they understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Over the past several months, we've exchanged documents and records with HCA. All fact witnesses have now been deposed. Fact witnesses are folks like myself, Dennis Miller, our CFO, Don Webb, and several executives from HCA. All of those people have been deposed. Expert witnesses will now be deposed through the remainder of February and into March. And in our letter that we sent to you last Friday, you can see a summary of what we expect our expert witnesses to testify to. We believe that reading that summary, you'll understand to a large degree why we have been unwilling at this point to abandon our appeal process. We believe we have an argument, and we believe it deserves to be heard. The hearing itself will take place on April the 11th, and the judge has set aside 2 weeks for that hearing. After the hearing, the judge will render his decision within a few weeks after the end of the hearing. And that's where we stand. We feel good about what we're doing. We feel like we have a fiduciary responsibility to this group to state our position on this issue. We don't believe that Spring Hill needs a hospital. They do have health care issues, but we believe those can be met in other ways. And so that's where we stand. We wanted to bring you folks up to date on that, and I'll answer any questions you have about the CON hearing or anything else that you may have about the hospital at this time.
Any questions of Mr. Klein? I see none. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
I just wanted to add, Mr. Miller asked me to apologize on his behalf for his absence tonight. He's celebrating his 30th birthday, anniversary, not 30th anniversary, which is certainly something you need to take note of.
Absolutely. And we wish him good luck in that then. Okay, moving on. Looking through the rest of the reports, most of the other committees and departments have reported to you. Is there any commissioner or anybody on any of these committees wishing to report at this time? Commissioner Barnwell, please.
Wanted to announce Announce that the Human Resources Committee meeting for Monday, the 19th of February has been canceled. We will reconvene on Thursday, March 15th versus March 19th, because March 19th is break week, I understand. And for members of the Human Resources Committee, that tonight in your packet on your desk, there's another request for additional personnel that you might want to take with you to review for our next meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Anything else? Anybody wishing to speak or address anything on any of the committees? Commissioner Cook, please.
Mr. Chairman, can we have Doug Hood come forward and tell us about the award he just received for his department?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Hood, would you come forward, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Williamson County Parks and Recreation Department was picked by the residents of Williamson County as the best place for a workout and parks and recreation facility. I think the Franklin Athletic Club was second and the YMCA was third, and we finished first. And we're very grateful for that and received that award at the factory during this past week.
The Sizzle Award.
The Sizzle Award, yes. Yes. Very honored.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner, for bringing that up.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. Anything else? Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, moving on then to elections and appointments. Under the County Commission, the Stormwater Appeals Committee, 2-year terms expiring January 09. Cheryl Wilson, recommendation Cheryl Wilson. Motion made and seconded. Commissioner Hayes, Commissioner Cook the second. Cheryl Wilson. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. John Minton, Building Contractor Representative. Nomination John Minton. Commissioner Cook the motion. Commissioner Wilson the second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. The engineering rep, Mike Delvesis. Recommendation is Mike Delvesis. Commissioner Walton the motion. Commissioner Davis the second. Further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. And then the agricultural representative, Mr. John Kinney. Recommendation John Kinney. Commissioner Hancock the motion. Second. Commissioner Williams the second. Other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Report from the steering committee. Commissioner Russell Little, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The steering committee met last week. We had 3 places on the special road study committee to replace. We were replacing Joe Hughes, Tom Moon, and Brandon Hewlett, and the steering committee recommends for your approval Ricky Jones, Cheryl Wilson, and Jack Walton, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Russell Little, second by Commissioner Mills. Further discussion on the recommendation of the steering committee to fill these 3 slots. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it unanimous. Thank you, Commissioner Little. No consent. Next item is the notaries. You've received the list of notaries that are up for consideration this evening. I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Langston, second by Commissioner Cook to approve the notaries. Any discussion? Commissioner Wilson, please.
I need to recuse myself on this one. I have a family member on there.
Okay. So Commissioner Wilson is abstaining to vote. Anything further? All in favor of the notaries as presented, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Show it 22 yes, 1 abstention. Notaries approved. No unfinished business. Moving on, no zoning. Moving on to appropriations, resolution number 2071. Resolution appropriating $96,226 hurricane evacuation relief funds and $96,838 fund balance, total of $193,064 for salaries of additional teachers at mid-year. Commissioner Mills, please.
Move for approval.
Second by Commissioner Davis. The report from the committees, please. Education Committee report.
7-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5-0 against, as amended.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Mills.
All right, I know everybody remembers Katrina and all the victims that we had. And so the school system was awarded additional funds to take care of these victims. And they have found, they've used up all the money in September when the enrollment was, had exceeded projection. And they have, after December the 12th, 2006 and January the 9th, they had enrolled 156 students between those times, and they found that they needed some more teachers. So Dr. Sharber will be happy to explain this if anybody needs any more explanation.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I serve on the Budget Committee, and we moved to amend, and also moved to amend this to allow to take out or to fund with the Katrina funds only, and to remove the amount from the fund balance. That will allow, and to specifically allow Dr. Sharber to have 2 special ed teacher positions and 2 regular teacher positions.
Just second to Mr. Williams, Commissioner Williams' motion.
I second it.
Commissioner Lynch on the second. Go ahead, Commissioner Williams.
For explanation?
Anything further you want to say?
At the time, Dr. Sharber and I have talked about this. At the time, this was sort of speculation as what they think they might need. They don't know. And so really all she needed when she came before the Budget Committee was just half of 1 special ed teacher. So this was kind of an opportunity for me and the Budget Committee to judge where we stood along the lines for seeing what needed to be allocated to them.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lynch.
The system has grown 166 students since first day of September. And if you'll remember, we approved 7 teachers for that period, which has used them up. And like Mr. Williams says, they only need 1/2 of 1 position. And we meet every month, so we didn't see any point in appropriating money for 8 people when they're not going to need but 1/2 of 1 position, which is a special ed. So we approved the 4, and then if they need them later on, which I doubt it, but if they do, then we can approve them.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Chairman, this the portion of the money that wasn't granted to the school system on the likelihood of future teachers being needed due to enrollment growth, $96,838. That says fund balance. Whose fund balance is that?
Commissioner Lynch.
School system's fund balance. So if those teachers aren't needed, then they aren't hired, that money reverts back to the school system fund balance?
It stays in the fund balance, provided
So
you don't hire somebody else, coordinator, somebody like that, which they can hire a coordinator, and still it comes out of the same category, or guidance, not a guidance counselor, but people like that.
I see.
In other words, if we appropriate these 8 teachers, they can hire the specialists, they can hire coordinators. I got a thing against coordinators. I never have seen anything to do, but see, you can't find out how many coordinators the system's got because they pay them out of the same line the teachers pay. If they need these people later on, we can hire them. If they don't need them, the money stays in the fund balance.
Okay. So it's a concern about they might hire somebody that didn't really need it.
But it is with me.
That was my question.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Commissioner Smith?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Back to Commissioner Mills, please.
Mr. Chairman, I would still like to hear Dr. Sharber talk about this, but I don't see, if you need 3 special ed teachers, how we can cut it down to 1, and I 1/2 of a teacher. And I just want to remind this commission that dealing with special ed kids is very much different from dealing with regular children. If you have 9 regular children in a classroom, a regular class, that's heaven to a teacher. I mean, it really is heaven. But if you got 9 special ed children in a classroom with one teacher, that's not heaven at all. And so we need to be sure that we know exactly what we're doing. You cannot deal with special ed children like you deal with regular children. And if I see one half of a teacher and no aids or anything, all we're doing is asking for trouble, and we certainly are not meeting the needs of these children. And I don't want to spend money any more than anybody else. But I tell you one thing, I am certainly for doing what we need to do for these children, all children, but especially special ed children. I'd still like to hear Dr. Sharber's.
Dr. Sharber, would you address Commissioner Mills' question, please?
I think we at least provided for the 2 committees how we had used the 14 unassigned teaching positions that you approved at the beginning of the year, because we did have more growth during the summer than we anticipated. And we asked you for 14 unassigned positions, and we didn't know then how many we would need. And 14 was really more than the projected or the over-projected growth would have warranted if you just divide 20 into that number. And we realized that, and you trusted us with that, and we appreciate it. And we needed every single one of them to get us through till Christmas. In fact, we needed 0.4 more than 14, and part of that was because of special education. When we put together our budget about special education, we give it the best shot we can with the information we have about this year's students, because we're doing that for next year's budget, looking at the students we know that we'll retain in the school district for special education. And you probably remember, we're responsible for special education students from the ages of 3 to 22. So we are responsible for those students longer than we're responsible for any other students. And once they're in our system, we provide a good program, and people usually stay with us unless transfers happen with employment. But what we don't know when we put together the budget, we anticipate growth in our full student body, but we don't really know how many of those children will come in as special education children as well. So not only do they need the classroom teacher, but they're going to need some special education services, sometimes extreme special education services. So it was necessary for us to use some of those 14 teachers for special education. The others were used simply to make sure we stayed within the state mandated maximum class sizes and the pupil-teacher ratios, and that's how we used all of those positions. When we came back in January, we had 150 more children, new children, than we had when we left in December. Now, that we have the 5th month report. Looking at the beginning of the year, we don't have 150 more children than we did in December, but when we put together this resolution, we didn't know that, because we just simply took the attendance on the first day of school. We didn't have a report of who left in December. We didn't know how many teachers we might need to get us through the end of the year, but we do know that if class sizes go over the state maximum, 25 kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 30, 4th, 5th, and on up through middle and high school, we're required to put a teacher in those classrooms. Frankly, we don't want to use these teachers if we don't have to, because in February, it is no fun to tell parents, you're fixing to get a new teacher for your children because we're going to divide out your classes. But we're mandated to do that by the state if that happens. We have about 3 places in the district where that could happen. One place with 1 child moving in, that could happen. One other place with 3 children moving in, that could happen. With another place, 2 children moving in, that could happen. And those are just as I scan looking at the elementary schools. Plus, we already know we have a need at Westwood Elementary for another special education teacher, because their load has gotten up to about 40 children for 2 teachers. And that's basically the class load of a regular education teacher. So it's too many special education children for that kind of pupil-teacher ratio. I can't tell you that I need, for sure, I can't stand here and tell you I'm going to use 8 teachers. I can tell you I'm going to definitely need a special ed teacher. I may need the other teachers. I don't know if it's going to be 4. I don't know if it's going to be 8. I don't know if it's going to be 2. We took our best estimate at 8, We weren't asking to use anyone else's money. It's our fund balance money. It's our Katrina funds. And we do not have a history of taking these teacher funds and hiring consultants or anyone else with these funds. When we say we're going to use them for teachers, when we come to you like this with these resolutions, we use them for teachers. But that's the whole point. As I told the budget committee, we can live with 4, but if I need that 5th teacher, I can't wait 2 months to hire the teacher. I can't go through this whole process of bringing a resolution to the full commission through the education committee, the budget committee, and then to the commission. I can't wait to hire a teacher when I get in that position. So if I need the 5th teacher, I'm going to hire the teacher. And I just hope that you guys won't hang me out to dry for it. Is that
Okay.
enough of an explanation?
Commissioner Mills, anything further? Follow-up?
Did I hear you say that you have 20 special ed children in 2 classes?
No, we have about 40 special ed children at Westwood Elementary, and I have 2 special ed teachers.
Does that mean, Mr. Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Does that mean that, what's in a class?
Well, those children are in regular classes, and the special ed teacher goes into the classroom and works with them, or may pull them out for some specialized reading or math instruction part of the day. And if those children have severe disabilities, they probably have a teacher assistant with them at least part of the day. And some of those children are getting speech and language therapy. Some of those children are getting occupational and physical therapy, depending on their needs.
Only one other thing. At some point in time, I think that maybe Dr. Sharma needs to explain without names, and I know she wouldn't do that, some of the problems of special ed children, because you would be amazed at the problems that some of these children have. And it makes you think sometimes, if I had a child like that, I wouldn't send them to school. I'd keep them at home and do what I could for them. So sometimes maybe she needs to do that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner
Thank you,
Davis,
Ms. Mills.
please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Sharber addressed my original question, so I'll leave it with a short comment. I've been here 5 years, and we've done this for 5 years, so I want to trust them with the additional positions. If they don't need them, don't hire them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Ford, please.
Mr. Chairman, Dr. Sharber also addressed a couple of my questions, had to do with how close are we to specific schools. And I think you said there's 3 places across the county right now that we're in danger of hitting that. Second one had to do with Commissioner Lynch's appropriate question about will this money be used for coordinators or something other than teachers, and you're assuring us that's not the case.
That's not the case. Even when we bring our budget to you, we explain to you exactly who's in that and what we need.
Another question, Mr. Chairman, if I might. When we start on the budget process, does your position control report that you present to us of how many positions, does that include how many you've actually hired or the appropriated positions? In other words, if you only need 2 of these 5 regular teachers and you hire 2, will those additional 3 positions that have been appropriated here show up on your report?
No.
Okay, so it will be only...
because we start over. We start over with the projections. We start over with each school, like each elementary school, and how many children are in each grade, and we go through and say, okay, in order to meet the maximum PTR, how many teachers will it take this year in projections?
So
we start all over again with everything, basically with everything.
Actual hires, so there's not a danger in there of us double counting and us getting appropriated these teachers by accident in next year's budget.
We're very careful not to do that. We think we're very careful not to do that because we start from the beginning again.
Yeah. My last question has to do with the timing. We don't meet in March. We meet in April. No, we do meet in...
You meet in March.
Okay. But to get these in our March meeting, you would have to get these through the school board by their meeting this upcoming Monday, correct? Because they have to appropriate additional money. So if we pass this, then you don't have money to hire a new teacher, then the school board would have to pass another resolution for additional funding to come back to us, correct?
Well, if you amend this, your amended resolution will not be what the school board passed. The school board passed this
Correct.
resolution.
And to-
And I would not ask the board, I don't go back and ask the board to redo the resolutions, except when we're working with the full budget.
But if you needed another teacher and had to appropriate more money, that'd have to go back to the school board.
If I needed 9 teachers instead of 8.
Right, or if you only get 4 now and you needed more.
No, I think that really, the board has approved 8. So I would just have to come back through the education, the budget, and the commission.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams, please.
I'm not going to make it sound any worse than it is.
Just so the commission knows, and minutes of the budget committee reflect this, and then Dr. Sharber and I have talked about this. This is really an attempt to kind of monitor and see exactly how many positions would be needed. And I, for one, can state to Dr. Sharber that I would not hang her out to dry if she went ahead and hired a teacher if she was to need one. This is more of an object to attempt to monitor this by the commission as we're supposed to do that, and money-wise and what we've got to do. So that's the purpose of the amendment.
Thank you, sir. Okay, any other discussion? You've heard the amendment that's...
Mr. Chairman, and I will say, I don't remember coming back this time of the year to ask for this help because we've pretty much settled out before this year. I think it's just an indication of how we really are growing in our county. Thank you for letting me say that.
Okay, the amendment that's on the floor is to amend this resolution to $96,226 with the revenues to come totally from the Katrina Fund. That's the motion that's on the floor. It's been made and seconded as the amendment. Discussion on the amendment. The amendment's loaded on the machine, 2071 amendment. If you're in favor of the amendment, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, Ms. Anderson.
9 yes, 14 no.
Okay, 9 yes, 14 no, so the amendment fails. So we're back to the original resolution, 2071, as presented, that's on the floor for consideration. Any discussion on the original resolution, 2071, as presented? I see none. If you're in favor of 2071, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please.
21 yes, 2 no.
21 yes, 2 no. Resolution is adopted. Resolution 2072, resolution appropriating $13,280 additional federal adult education funds for personnel and non-personnel expenditures in the 2006-07 general purpose school budget for the adult education program. Commissioner Mills, please.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Davis. Education Committee report.
7 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee report.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Mills.
This is an incentive grant that the Board of Education has received for the GED, and this is adult education. They may use funds for personnel and non-personnel functions of the program, and there is a need for additional equipment, material, and supplies, and there's no additional, well, we won't take any county funds for this. And if you need any explanation, then Dr. Sharber will talk to you about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions of Commissioner Mills on 2072? I see none. 2072 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record the vote, please.
23 yes.
Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2075, resolution to correct an error in the formerly approved resolution number 110629 regarding appropriating and amending the 2006-07 Parks and Recreation budget. Commissioner Cook, please.
For approval?
Second, Commissioner Langston. Parks and Rec Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee?
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Cook.
This is just sort of a house cleaning type item. When the resolution came before us in November, the 2 line items were left out, but there is no change in the funds.
Thank you. Questions of Commissioner Cook on 2075? I see none. In favor of 2075, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted who wished to vote. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2076, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 Parks and Recreation budget by $200, revenues to come from reserve funds. Commissioner Cook.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Wilson. Parks and Rec Committee.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Cook.
A fund was started several years ago to give to students out of the Hillsborough School $100 bonds to a female and a male. And this is just taking this money out of the reserve.
Thank you,
It's not
ma'am.
spending any of ours.
Questions of Commissioner Cook? See none. If you're in favor of Resolution 2076, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted wish to vote. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20710, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 Circuit Court Clerk budget by $5,000, revenues to come from reserve account. Commissioner Lynch.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cook. Budget Committee report.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please.
This is just money to pay for computer equipment, and like you say, the money is coming out of reserve account.
Any questions of Commissioner Lynch on 0710? I see none. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted who wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. 20711, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 Election Commission budget by $8,095, revenues to come from state grant funds. Commissioner Lynch, please.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Cook. Budget Committee report.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please, sir.
This is state grant funds, and it's to train the elected people that are running elected voting machines.
Questions of Commissioner Lynch on 0711? See no questions. If you're in favor of 20711, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted who wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution is unanimously adopted. Resolution 20712, resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 Parks and Rec budget by $60,000, revenues to come from participant fees. Commissioner Cook. Second, Commissioner Walton. Parks and Rec Committee.
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Cook.
The Parks and Rec Department has taken over the Fairview Recreation Association, and they're adding the baseball and softball leagues, and the funds will be generated by the participation fees.
Questions of Commissioner Cook on this resolution? I see none. 20712 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20714, a resolution appropriating and amending the 2006-7 capital projects budget by $85,000 for replacement of fire tanker chassis. for the Paytonsville Volunteer Fire Department, revenues to come from undesignated fund balance. Commissioner Bain.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chalfant, the Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee.
7 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, sir. Budget Committee,
5 for, 0 against.
explanation, please.
Mr. Chairman, if Mike Thompson, is Mike still there? He could probably give a better explanation than I could on that.
Mike, you want to come forward and explanate the situation here, please?
This concerns a fire tanker truck that was purchased a couple of years ago for Paytonsville Volunteer Fire Department. At the time, we purchased a new fire body, which is a tank, pump, compartments, that kind of thing, on a used chassis. There were some problems with the chassis shortly after we got it, and through some negotiations between the county and our attorneys and the company, we did get a little bit of settlement back. Recently, the transmission went out on it. We looked at essentially 4 options: replacing the transmission, replacing the chassis, replacing the entire truck with a base model truck, or replacing the entire truck with a similar truck except new. Cost-effective wise, we felt that this was the best route to go and would give us essentially a new chassis, new truck, have a warranty on the chassis, and have the remaining 16 or 18 years warranty that's left on the tank.
Questions of Mike on 20714? I see none. Thank you, Mike. If you're in favor of Resolution 20714, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record a vote, please. 23 yes, 0 no. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2073, resolution to adopt the 2006 International Residential Code 2006 edition. Commissioner Walton.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Brockman. Planning Commission report, Commissioner Walton.
9 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, please.
Yes, sir. Right now, the county's operating on the 1997 Standard Building Code, and we would like to update that to the 2006 International Building Code, and that's what most builders are familiar with, and we feel like that it would better enhance the quality of construction in the county.
Thank you, sir. Any questions of Commissioner Walton on this resolution? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 2073, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. Thank you. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution to appoint Sharon Guffey and Josh Rogers as Judicial Commissioners for Williamson County. Commissioner Chalfant, please.
Move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Smith. Law Enforcement Committee.
7 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee.
5 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Chalfant.
I think the qualifications are attached for each of the commissioners.
Any questions of Commissioner Chalfant on this resolution? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 2074, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Record a vote, please. 23 yes, 0 no. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 2077, resolution to permit the serving of alcoholic beverages at the Agricultural Exposition Center for an event of the Nashville Kennel Club. Commissioner Cook.
Move for approval.
Commissioner Wilson, the second. Budget Committee report.
3 for, 2 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Cook.
The Kennel Club has been a dependable client of the ACT Center, and for the last several years, we have allowed them during their show to have alcoholic beverages in a designated area. They provide a policeman, and they are able to take care of all the laws and make sure everything is done according to all our rules and regulations. So I'm asking you to allow them to do this once again.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams?
I've said this in the past, and I'm sure everybody's heard it before, but I think it subjects Williamson County to a liability, or potential liability, rather, that we as commissioners should not allow, and therefore I'm going to have to vote against it.
Thank you, sir. Other discussion on Resolution 2077? I see none. If you're in favor of 2077, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted who wishes to vote? Record a vote, please.
17 yes, 1 abstention.
7. Thank you. 17 yes, 5 no, and 1 abstention. So the resolution does pass. Resolution 2078, resolution to approve a pilot, that is payment in lieu of taxes program for a facility to be occupied by Biomimetics Therapeutics, Inc., as requested by the Industrial Development Board of Williamson County. This is sponsored by several, so who wants to move it? Commissioner Walton, Commissioner Barnwell. The second, this went before the Industrial Development Board and passed 4-4, 0 against, and 2 passed. Budget Committee?
3 for, 2 against.
Thank you. Tax Study Committee? Thank you. 5-4-0 against. Property Committee?
6 for, 0 against.
Thank you. Explanation, Commissioner Walton, please.
Well, I don't know, Mr. Chairman, if I'm the best to explain this, but I'll give it a shot, or Bob Anacone's here. It maybe it'd be better if I deferred to him. But basically, this Biomedics has got a facility here, and they want to build a manufacturing facility and start manufacturing their product, and it takes a real special building, and the state and the city are on board with this program, and I encourage you.
Thank you, sir. This has been through several of the committees, so, for expediency and saving time. Commissioner Williams, any questions?
I've just got a statement. I was one of the 2 people in the Budget Committee that voted against this. I've done some further research into it. I'm going to support that. I'm going to support it tonight. However, I would say this to the County Commission, that if we have to build 9 schools in the next 5 years, and we're looking at voiding certain taxes for companies that come before us, we're setting a dangerous precedent. And I think we need to look at that very carefully in the future of these things that come before us, because of, like in the NISA case, they paid the educational taxes. So we need to be very careful in how we do this, and so I just want to explain my vote on it.
Thank you, sir. And as I understand it, Council, you can correct me, this arrangement also does not forgive any of the taxes associated with education. Is that correct?
That's correct. This is an abatement on the non-educational ad valorem taxes.
Thank you, sir. But points well taken, Commissioner. Commissioner Chalfant?
I'll make that same point. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any other discussion before us on Resolution 2078? I see none. If you're in favor of Resolution 2078, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted wishes to vote. Record a vote, please.
22 yes, 1 no.
22 yes, 1 no. Resolution is adopted. Resolution 2079, resolution to adopt a code of ethics for officials and employees of Williamson County government. Commissioner Barnwell?
Move for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mills. Tax Study Committee?
5-4-0 against.
Thank you. 5-4-0 against. Property Committee?
6 in favor of, 0 against.
Thank you. Budget Committee?
5 for, 0 again.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnwell, explanation, please.
Yes, last month, we were all given the, other than Ms. Cook, who now has one, I hope, we're given the CTAS ethics thing that they have come up with. We are required by law by June 30th to have by the Ethics Reform Act to have adopt certain standards. CTAS has done that for us. They have come up with a blueprint. One nice thing about the CTAS model is that it doesn't have to go back to the state legislature. We approve it as is. If we do our own, it has to go back to the state legislature, so it's probably better we use the CTAS one. This, as the chairman said, this covers everybody in the county, elected county officials, and I would recommend approval because the alternative is not good.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion, questions of Commissioner Barnwell? And thank you for your work in getting us together. 2079, any questions before we vote to adopt this Code of Ethics? See no questions. If you're in favor of 2079, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Everybody voted that wishes to vote. Record a vote, please. 23 yes. Resolution unanimously adopted. Resolution 20713, resolution authorizing the Williams County Mayor to enter into a contractual agreement with McBride Dale Clarion for professional consultant services. Commissioner Brockman.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Hayes. Budget Committee.
5 for, 0 against.
Explanation, Commissioner Brockman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the consultant group we've been working with for a good bit of time. As you well know, we need to have some more public meetings, some more input to finish the final documentation of this plan. We're close to the finish line. We need to stay with this group. They've done an excellent job, and this will allow us to execute that contract.
Thank you, ma'am. Questions of Commissioner Brockman? Commissioner Hayes, please.
I'd like to personally thank all of you who came to the meeting the other evening. I think it was great that we came and heard, but we do want to go back out into the public. There have been a series of 3 study groups around the counties in 3 different sections. There is another one, a forum planned, a series, and please acknowledge that or advertise that one's at Hillsborough Elementary School, Monday, February the 26th, one at Page Middle, Tuesday, February the 27th, one at Grassland Middle, Wednesday, February the 28th. They all began at 6:30 p.m. Our whole purpose in doing this forums is to find out what the public wants. We heard from some people after our meeting. We are giving some alternatives. We listened to the public when we went out, tried to make some decisions based on what they said. Many of them, one alternative was always status quo or to stay the same with some conservation by right easements, but we did have some changes. We want to go back out and hear from the public to see exactly what the public does want. We hope that you will encourage your constituents to get out and let us know. We're doing this for our people and our constituency, and we want our comprehensive plan to reflect the wants and the needs of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hayes. And let me say on behalf of the entire commission, all 24 of us, a special thanks to Commissioner Brockman for her many, many hours, and Commissioner Hayes in working on this. I know you've met many, many times, and we're still not finished. But I want to compliment you on the work that you've done, and also our staff that have supported your efforts. So any further questions or comments on 20713? Commissioner Hayes?
Thing. There is money still in the budget. This is just housekeeping to extend the contract, so we'll be in order. There is money in the budget, so no new money is needed.
Thank you. Would encourage the public to particularly attend and watch what's happening in these public hearings, because what's being proposed is a very dynamic move from where we are currently in the county. So I would publicly ask on behalf of the entire commission that everyone that has interest in this, please attend these public meetings, because it could have an impact on each of you. So pay attention. Those 3 meetings are set later this month. 20713 is up for consideration. If you're in favor, press your yes button. Opposed, your no button. Has everybody voted that wishes to vote? Record the vote, please. Resolution is unanimously adopted. 23 yes, 0 no. Is there anything further to come before the commission? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Williams, Commissioner Chalfant, the second. All in favor, say aye. Unanimous. We are in adjournment. Thank you very much. See you next month.